The league shut down in the middle of March. The NHL closes its doors. Due to public safety concerns, we're pausing the season. As scary as that sounded, I thought, all right, safety's important. The whole way through this process, safety's been important. So today, I was, as you can see here, putting up a nice circle to represent the bubble, and I was going to do this. All right, so we'll figure out, so let's say there's 12 teams inside the bubble, 35 to 40 players. You've got your taxi squads and everything, and you don't want to have to worry about calling guys in who haven't been in the process. About 400, 480, however many players. 33 minimum probably, and just trying to do all the math. And then word came in that Vancouver was out, and why. So Adrian Dix, health minister in BC, kind of let us know why. And so as much as getting into coaches, trainers, medical, 300 staff, that's up to about 700 people, probably 700 people. And then you've got media, general managers. What do you do with a positive test? And then you've got how to get food in, get food out, deliveries, all this other stuff. And I was going to have this whole thing where I was going to try to figure out the math on exactly how to make it work. Problem is this. So the NHL clearly has an idea to do this that I don't know that it's going to work in Canada. And now I have questions about the next regular season as well. So for people who say, hey, they can just come back in October, they may not be able to. Even if things fell apart and they go, all right, we'll just start the season in October. I don't know that cities in Canada are necessarily going to take it easy. So, word had leaked out that the Vancouver, their bid was in trouble. Now the Vancouver bid is gone. And this is clearly a case of the Vancouver bid apparently meaning too many regulations for the NHL. So where I have an issue is if a player tests positive but they're asymptomatic, the NHL wants them to keep playing. No. And it's fine. People say, oh, well, if they're asymptomatic, it's no big deal. Well, what they've discovered over the last few months is you're more contagious when you're asymptomatic. So, and again, this is all information that's available via various health websites and whatnot. And so that's problematic. And it's problematic that they're saying, well, if there's an outbreak, there's an outbreak. We won't necessarily shut down. And basically along the lines of where the BC health officials said, we're not having this in our city. Where you won't shut things down. They were basically saying, okay, so if there's positive tests, you may have to shut things down. And the NHL went, yeah, but do we really, though? Do we really have to? Baseball is already talking about, well, if there's positive tests, we're going to go just barrel straight through it. I don't know. I don't know. And again, I want hockey back. And I'm, I absolutely do. I want hockey to come back. I want us to have professional sports. But it has to be done safely. You have to do it safely. You have to have it in a situation where, yes, you get them into this bubble. You do your best to keep them completely isolated. When someone tests positive, you have to have a safety protocol in place that isn't, well, he's not sick yet, so we'll just leave him in the lineup. And if that's what it is, that's a problem. And apparently in Ontario, the idea that if you're asymptomatic, you can go to work, that may very well be interesting to the NHL. I've argued since March that the shutdown, it was the right call, and the shutdown was important. But when I hear this stuff, I'm thinking, why did they shut down? If they were going to take the attitude of, well, somebody tests positive, okay, we don't really need to close things down, why weren't we playing in April? Because, again, it's an issue. And then you've got Artemi Panarin coming out and saying, hey, until we deal with escrow, we shouldn't play anyways. And I feel like if you're part of the union, you should be calling Panarin and going, we can't really do that. We have a collective bargaining agreement we've agreed to. And when that's done, we can talk about not playing. But we can't really throw that threat out there while we're under a collective bargaining agreement. So while Panarin may have somewhat of a point when it comes to escrow, it's also something that was already negotiated between the union and the league. And again, for people, that's it, shut everything down. I hate to say, yeah, if we're going to be in a situation where this bubble is just theoretical, and we're going to say, well, there's a bubble, we're trying to keep people safe, but if something gets in here, if something gets in here and it starts to spread amongst everybody, well, we don't really have to shut things down, because then why have it? Why have it? Why have it? And then, as soon as players lose faith in this, they'll start walking out. Other sports, other entertainment industries, wrestling being an entertainment industry, we've seen where as soon as this environment becomes unsafe, people will say, all right, well, I'm out of here then. Because forget it. Now, the NHL, safety is supposed to be number one. The numbers in Vancouver, the numbers in Edmonton are excellent. Now, Edmonton may very well still be in the running. But if Edmonton and Alberta Health have the same opinion as Vancouver's, and they very well may, Alberta's numbers have been excellent as well over the last few weeks compared to where they were, it may end up with Toronto. And it may end up with Toronto because they're more permissive and more lax, which is something you want to hear with safety, right? I could just imagine in any job I've ever had, having a boss say to me and go, well, here's our new insurance provider. We went with this insurance provider because they're a lot more lax about whether or not you get hurt at work. Huh? Yeah, they really are. They're pretty, they're pretty understanding about how you might get hurt working on the job, and we might want you to work while you're hurt. Oh, and the other providers? They were jerks. They think that when you're hurt, you should probably go to a doctor, and you probably shouldn't work while you're hurt. We think you should be able to. So that's what we might be looking at. So, to Artemi Panarin, my advice to him would be read the room. This might not be the time to start complaining about escrow and try to pick a collective bargaining agreement fight. Figure this out first, but at the same time, this may not work. It's got to be done safely. Because if it's not done safely, it's going to get shut down. And it's going to get shut down because even if, let's just say they go, all right, well, we're going to do it this way, and you have Vegas and Toronto going, fine, do it that way. Once a player hits the hospital, reports out of Florida today, 2 17-year-olds passed away. So yes, your odds of surviving are much, much higher being younger. But there's the whole scarred lungs thing that's a problem. And that's an insurance issue, which we haven't even got to yet. We haven't even got to the insurance part of this, where players are going to want to say, hey, if I have some kind of a medical condition from this, if I get this and I have a medical condition, then what? And that's where it's going to get expensive for the NHL. Because, again, you can get scarred lungs. There are people who end up on kidney dialysis. There are people who end up with heart conditions after. So, again, I would love to see it come back. I want to see it come back as safely as possible. I'll report on it all the way through. But this is encouraging. It's not encouraging when you know that health officials are saying we have our reasons, and they bring out reasons, and the NHL is dead silent on it. The NHL doesn't have a rebuttal to it other than, well, Vancouver's out. Why? And is this the NHL's call, or are these the players as well making this call? This is where things are going to get interesting. And again, I'll be here to report on it when these things happen. But there are definitely some troubling signs here. And again, so if you've been of the mind of, hey, we're not going to get hockey this summer, I would think if I'm in the NHLPA right now and this information's coming out, I might be, if I'm, say Quinn Hughes, Vancouver, Quinn Hughes, I might be calling the rep for the team and saying, so what's going on here? What's this about? If I'm asymptomatic, I might have to keep playing? And the rep's like, yeah, that's the plan. Well, I'm saying no. Okay. And remember, the plan is when there's a vote, it's going to be every player gets an individual vote. This isn't a situation where if again, using Vancouver as the example, because they're the reason for this video, if the Vancouver Canucks vote, say, 13-10 in favor of playing, that they go, okay, so Vancouver's got a vote in favor of playing. It's a 13-10 vote. and then it goes on to the other team. So it has to be more than half. And even then, there are going to be players that say, I'm not willing to play. And again, this is why I haven't been doing the previews. This is why I've stayed out of the whole predicting who's going to win the Stanley Cup. Because if this doesn't work, you don't get a Stanley Cup. We won't see it awarded. It's not going to happen. And I was really believing that this was going to be very, very well formed and very well thought out. And now I'm really starting to wonder. While we're seeing Major League Baseball, their plans crumbling, and we're seeing various other sports trying to find a way to make this work. We'll see what they do. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And good news is, we still have the draft lottery tomorrow no matter what happens with this. But Vancouver's out, and now the hub city decision's been probably pushed back into next week, where it was going to be Vancouver and Vegas, but Vancouver asked too many questions, so they're out. That's alarming. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.